October 14th, 1944, Labor Camp 4, Upper Silesia, German-occupied Poland. The wind does not blow here, it cuts. It slices through the thin, rough fabric of the striped tunic, as if the cloth were made of nothing but gauze. 6 o'clock in the morning. The sky is the color of a bruised lung, a dark, suffocating gray that promises snow, but delivers only a freezing, needle-like rain. The mud underfoot is not just earth and water. It is a freezing slurry that sucks at wooden clogs, threatening to pull them off with every step. To lose a shoe in Camp 4 is a death sentence. To stop moving is to die. In the center of the Appellplatz, the roll call square, 400 women stand in rigid rows. They are statues carved from bone and exhaustion. Their breath mists in the freezing air, a collective cloud of silent desperation. Among them stands Lena. She is 18 years old, though her eyes look like they have seen a century of winters. Her skin is translucent, stretched tight over cheekbones that protrude like jagged rocks. But it is not her hunger that makes her heart hammer against her ribs like a trapped bird. It is the secret she carries, a secret that is barely a flutter, a tiny, impossible spark of life growing in a place designed for death. She keeps her hands clasped tightly in front of her stomach. It is a forbidden posture. The guards demand hands at sides, chins up, chests out. But Lena cannot obey. The oversized wool coat she managed to barter for 3 weeks of bread rations hangs loosely on her skeletal frame. It is her shield. It is her fortress. Underneath the layers of lice-ridden wool and rags, there's the slightest curve. To the untrained eye, it might just be the bloating of malnutrition, the hunger belly that plagues so many here. But Lena knows. She feels the shift, the heaviness that has nothing to do with the watery soup served 12 hours ago. Achtung! The shout cracks through the air like a whip. The chatter of teeth stops instantly. The silence that follows is heavier than the mud. Hauptsturmführer Müller is walking down the lines. He's a man of precise cruelty. His boots are polished to a black mirror, shine untouched by the filth that coats everything else in Camp 4. He holds a riding crop, tapping it rhythmically against his thigh. Tap, tap, tap. The sound is a metronome counting down the seconds of their survival. Lena stops breathing. She forces her shoulders back, trying to make herself invisible, trying to shrink inside the coat. If he stops, if he looks, if he sees that her silhouette is wrong. Discovery means the infirmary. And the infirmary in Camp 4 is not a place of healing. For a pregnant woman strictly forbidden from existing in a labor camp, it means immediate procedures. Forced abortion is the best-case scenario. Deportation to the gas chambers of Auschwitz, just a few hours away by train, is the standard protocol. Müller pauses 3 rows ahead. He stops in front of a woman who coughed, just a single involuntary spasm of a sick lung. He stares at her. The silence stretches thin and screaming. Lena feels a cramp of terror in her own abdomen. Stay still, she screams internally to the life inside her. Don't move. Don't let him know you are there. The officer moves on. The tapping resumes. He's getting closer. Lena can smell him now, leather tobacco and strong cologne that fails to mask the metallic scent of the camp itself. She fixes her eyes on the barbed wire fence in the distance, focusing on a single rusty barb. She counts the barbs. 1, 2, 3. She calculates the distance to the forest line she will never reach. Anything to keep from shaking. He is in her row now. He stops. He is standing directly in front of her. Lena does not look him in the eye. That is an act of defiance. She stares at the second button of his tunic. She can see her own distorted reflection in the silver surface. She looks small. She looks terrified. She looks guilty. You, Müller says softly. The word hangs in the freezing air. Your coat. Lena's blood turns to ice. Sir, her voice is a rasp, barely audible. It is too big for you. He observes his voice devoid of emotion. He reaches out with the riding crop. The leather tip touches the fabric of her coat right over her stomach. He presses. Lena stops her heart. She wills her muscles to turn to stone. If he presses an inch harder, he will feel it. He will feel the firmness that shouldn't be there. He will feel the life that is a crime. The crop digs in, the wool compresses. The pressure of the riding crop increases. Lena feels the leather tip sinking into the layers of wool, compressing the space between the outer world and the secret life within. She bites the inside of her cheek until she tastes copper. If she flinches, she is guilty. If she pulls away, she is dead. She remains a statue, her eyes fixed on the silver button, her mind screaming a silent prayer. to a god she isn't sure is listening anymore. "What do you have there?" Muller whispers, his voice a silky threat. "Potatoes, bread, or just filth?" His hand moves to the lapel of her coat. His fingers clad in black leather gloves brush against her collarbone. He's going to open it. He's going to see the unnatural swell of her belly against her emaciated frame. Thud. The sound is heavy and wet, like a sack of wet flour hitting the mud. 2 rows behind them, a woman has collapsed. The exhaustion finally won. She lies face down in the slush, her body convulsing in a seizure. Miller's hand freezes on Lena's collar. His head snaps toward the commotion. The distraction is absolute. Weakness in the ranks is an offense that requires immediate public correction. He sneers at Lena, a look of pure disgust. "Filthy animals," he mutters, withdrawing his hand. He turns on his heel and strides toward the fallen woman, barking orders to the guards. Lena releases a breath that shudders through her entire body. Her knees buckle, but she locks them instantly. To fall now would be to draw him back. Beside her, another prisoner, an older woman named Magda, nudges her elbow imperceptibly. It is a signal: stand tall. Don't look back. Survive. Vorwärts marsch, forward march. The column begins to move. The wooden clogs clatter against the frozen earth, a rhythmic drumbeat of misery. They march out of the Appellplatz, past the electrified fences toward the maw of the munitions factory. The factory is a different kind of hell. If the camp is freezing, the factory is suffocating. The air is thick with yellow dust, picric acid, and sulfur. It coats the throat, burns the eyes, and turns the skin a sickly shade of canary yellow. The canaries. They call the women who work the filling line. Lena takes her station at the sorting belt. Her job is to inspect 20mm shell casings for defects. It is mind-numbing work that requires standing still for 12 hours. But today, the smell of the chemicals triggers a violent nausea. The morning sickness, usually suppressed by the sheer lack of food in her stomach, rebels against the toxic fumes. Bile rises in her throat. She swallows it down. She cannot leave the line. Leaving the line means a beating. "Easy, little one," a voice whispers. It is Magda working the station to her right. Magda is 40 but looks 70. She was a midwife in Krakow before the war. She's the only one who knows. "I can't," Lena whispers back, her lips barely moving. "It's the smell." "Breathe through your mouth," Magda instructs, not looking up from the casings spinning in her hands. "Think of something else. Think of the snow. Think of ice." Lena tries. She grips the edge of the metal table, but then she feels it. A flutter. Stronger than before. A distinct kick against her lower ribs. The baby is waking up. In this place of death, where metal shells are filled with explosives to kill men, hundreds of miles away a tiny heart is beating in defiance. The irony is terrifying. She is manufacturing death while harboring life. Suddenly, the foreman, a heavy-set civilian German named Schroeder, walks down the aisle. He stops behind Lena. She can feel his heat. He's known for his wandering hands and his temper. He looks at her pile of sorted casings. It is smaller than usual. "Slow today, 45902, Schroeder barks. He kicks her ankle with his steel-toed boot. Pain shoots up her leg, sharp and blinding. Lena gasps, gripping the table. She instinctively curls forward to protect her stomach. "Stand up straight," Schroeder yells, raising his hand to strike. Schroeder's heavy palm strikes the back of Lena's head. Not a full blow, but a shove that sends her face first into the metal sorting tray. The sharp edges of the casings bite into her cheek. "Pick it up," Schroeder screams, but not at Lena. To her right, a crate has overturned. Hundreds of brass casings cascade onto the concrete floor, chiming like discordant bells. Magda is on her knees instantly, her hands scrabbling frantically to gather them. It was a deliberate clumsiness, a sacrifice. Schroeder forgets the girl with the suspected hunger cramp. He turns his fury on the older woman. He kicks the scattered casings, sending them skittering into the dark corners of the factory floor. "You clumsy hag, you'll stay until every single one is accounted for. No soup tonight." Lena pulls herself upright. Her cheek is bleeding. Her ankle throbs with a sickening pulse. But she is alive. And more importantly, he is still safe inside her. She catches Magda's eye for a fleeting second. There's no smile, only a hard, desperate warning. Be careful. The rest of the shift blurs into a haze of yellow dust and exhaustion. When the whistle finally blows at 6:02 p.m., Lena's legs are trembling so violently she can barely walk. The march back to the barracks is a torture of wind and darkness. Barracks 8 is a wooden stable designed for 50 horses now housing 200 women. It smells of unwashed bodies, rotting straw, and dysentery. Lena crawls onto her bunk, a wooden plank shared with 3 others. She pulls her knees to her chest, trying to create a pocket of warmth. Magda returns an hour later. She looks grayer if that's possible. She climbs up to the bunk and lies beside Lena. "You took a risk," Lena whispers into the darkness. "He was going to hit your stomach," Magda replies flatly. "If he did, you would bleed. If you bleed, they see. If they see, you are ash." She reaches under her tunic and pulls out a small wrapped rag. Inside is half a slice of sawdust bread. She breaks it in 2 and hands the larger piece to Lena. "Eat, not for you, for the build." Lena eats. The bread is dry and tastes of wood, but it is precious. As she chews, the baby moves again. A rolling sensation. It is getting stronger and bigger. "Magda," Lena whispers, her voice trembling. "My tunic. The buttons strain when I breathe. The coat covers it outside, but inside, if I take the coat off..." Magda runs a rough hand over Lena's belly. She frowns in the dark. "You are small. The starvation helps hide it. But you are nearly 5 months. We cannot hide physics forever." Suddenly, the barracks door bangs open. The Block El Testa block leader strides in, flanked by 2 guards. The chatter dies instantly. "Listen," the Block El Testa shouts. "Inspection Thursday morning. The doctor is coming from Auschwitz for a selection. All prisoners will strip, full physical. The silence that follows is absolute terror. Thursday, 2 days away." Lena feels the blood drain from her face. A selection. Naked. There's no coat to hide under, no loose tunic.
Thursday
just
morning.
Skin and bone. And the undeniable curve of a forbidden life. "They will see." Lena chokes out, gripping Magda's arm until her knuckles turn white. "Magda, they will see." Magda stares at the ceiling beams, her eyes narrow. "Thursday," she mutters. She turns to Lena, her face hard as stone. "We have 2 days to make you invisible." Wednesday night is a blur of pain and rehearsal. Under the cover of darkness, while the other women sleep the sleep of the dead, Magda performs a brutal operation without anesthesia. She uses a rough, jagged stone found in the yard. "Bite on this," she whispers, shoving a piece of rag into Lena's mouth. Magda takes Lena's upper chest, the area just above her breasts, where the sternum meets the collarbone, and begins to scrape. She rubs the stone against the translucent skin until it breaks. She rubs until the blood comes mixing with dirt. She rubs until the area looks like a festering, angry patch of typhus or virulent scabies. Lena cries silently, tears tracking through the grime on her face. Her body wants to curl up, but Magda holds her firm. "It must look contagious," Magda hisses. "They are terrified of typhus. If he sees this, he will recoil. He will look at your face, at the sores, not at your stomach." Then comes the second lesson, the stance. "Suck it in," Magda commands. "Pull your navel to your spine. Harder." Lena inhales. Her diaphragm spasms. She pulls her abdominal muscles in with such force that her ribs flare out like the wings of a starving bird. It creates a cavernous hollow under her rib cage. But the baby is a hard knot low in her pelvis. "It hurts him," Lena gasps, releasing the breath. "It saves him," Magda snaps. Again. "Hold it for 10 seconds, then 20. You must be a skeleton tomorrow, Lena. Only bone, no flesh." Thursday morning arrives with a fog that clings to the ground like poison gas. The selection is not in the Appellplatz, but behind the latrines, where a makeshift barrier has been erected. "Ausziehen, alles ausziehen, strip everything." The order is barked by the SS guards. 200 women strip off their rags in the freezing mud. Their bodies are maps of suffering spines like rosary beads' hips, protruding like blades. The cold is immediate and violent. It turns skin blue and mottled. Lena stands in line naked. The cold actually helps. Her muscles contract involuntarily, tightening her skin. She stands behind a woman whose back is covered in boils. Ahead, the SS doctor sits on a high stool wearing a pristine white coat over his uniform, white gloves on his hands. He looks like a scientist examining lab rats. He holds a baton, flicking it left or right. Left the trucks, right the factory. The line moves fast, too fast. Flick, left. An older woman stumbles away weeping. Flick, right, flick, left. Lena is 3 spots away. Her heart is hammering so hard she fears the doctor will see it beating through her chest wall. She looks at Magda, who has already passed to the right. Magda's eyes are wide, urging her on. The stance. Do the stance. 2 spots. Lena begins to inhale. She pulls. She tightens every muscle in her torso until she feels lightheaded. The baby is compressed. It is silent. Please be silent. 1 spot. The woman in front of her is shoved to the left. She was too thin. It is Lena's turn. She steps forward. She does not walk. She marches. She stops 3 feet from the doctor. She throws her shoulders back, flaring her ribs, sucking her stomach in until her spine feels like it's touching her navel. She thrusts her chest out, presenting the angry, bloody scabbing mess Magda created. The doctor looks up from his clipboard. His eyes are blue ice. He scans her from the feet up. He sees the scarred legs, the jutting hip bones, the concave stomach holding. His eyes travel up. They stop at her chest. He sees the raw, oozing patch of skin. His lip curls. He leans back slightly, instinctively avoiding the infection. Dirty, he mutters. He lifts the baton. Lena's lungs are burning. She needs to breathe. If she exhales, the stomach will pop out. She holds it. The edges of her vision are going black. The baton hovers. He is deciding. He looks back down at her stomach. He frowns. Is it too round at the bottom? Is that a curve of starvation fluid or something else? He lowers the baton. He does not point left or right. Instead, he reaches out with the tip of the baton and touches her hip. Turn around, he commands. Lena freezes. If she turns, she has to twist. If she twists, she loses the tension. She loses the vacuum. I said turn around, he barks. Lena pivots on her heel. The movement forces a sharp exhalation, a tiny gasp of air escaping her lungs. Her abdominal muscles scream in protest, threatening to spasm and release the carefully held vacuum. For a split second, the curve of her belly softens, expanding just a fraction. But the doctor isn't looking at her stomach anymore. He is looking at her back. Or rather, he is looking away. The sight of the raw scabbing sores on her chest was enough. To a man obsessed with hygiene and racial purity, she is a walking petri dish of typhus. He doesn't want to touch her. He doesn't want to examine her further. He just wants her gone. Weg rechts, away right. He snaps, wiping his glove on a handkerchief. Lena stumbles toward the right. She does not run, she cannot, but she moves with a frantic, jerky speed. She passes the barrier. She grabs her rags from the mud. Only then, when she is fully dressed and hidden in the mass of shivering women, does she let go. Her stomach drops. She gasps for air, great heaving sobs that she stifles in her sleeve. Magda is there gripping her hand. They don't speak. There are no words for this kind of miracle. January 27, 1945. 3 months later. The world is ending. The sky is lit not by the sun, but by the burning horizon. The Russians are coming. The guards are in a panic. The order is given evacuation, the death march. Thousands of prisoners are forced onto the road in the dead of winter. It is 20 degrees below zero. Those who stop are shot. The road is lined with corpses like mile markers. Lena is walking. She is 8 months pregnant. The coat no longer hides anything. But in the chaos of the retreat, amidst the strafing runs of Soviet fighters and the terrified screaming of the SS, no one is checking for pregnancies. They are only checking for movement. If you move, you live. She walks for 3 days. Her feet are wrapped in cement bags. She eats snow. Magda walks behind her, pushing her when she slows, shielding her from the wind. On the 4th night, they collapse in an abandoned barn near the village of Wodzisław. The column has moved on, leaving the stragglers for dead. Pain rips through Lena sharper than hunger, sharper than the cold. It is time. Not here, she screams, clutching the straw. Not now. Yes, here. Yes, now. Magda says, her voice calm amidst the thunder of artillery outside. There is no hot water. There are no clean towels. There's only dirty straw and a rusty knife Magda found in the mud. The labor is short, brutalized by malnutrition. Lena bites down on leather to keep from screaming, terrified that a retreating German patrol might hear. And then silence. A tiny, weak cry pierces the gloom of the barn. Magda holds up a bundle wrapped in the filthy camp coat. It is a boy. He is impossibly small, his skin bluish, but he is breathing. He is alive. A defiance of every law of nature and every rule of the Reich. The barn door creaks open. Lena freezes. She clutches the baby to her chest. Magda grabs a pitchfork, standing in front of them like a lioness. A silhouette stands in the doorway, a helmet, a rifle. The figure steps into the light. The uniform is olive drab, not field gray. The helmet shape is round, not flared. "Easy, ma'am," a voice says. It is not German. It is English with a slow, drawling accent. "We're Americans. You're safe." The soldier lowers his rifle. He stares at the skeleton of a woman holding a bundle of rags. He steps closer, pulling a ration bar from his pocket. Then he sees the tiny face peeking out from the striped uniform. His eyes go wide. He takes off his helmet. Tears cut tracks through the dust on his face. "Well, I'll be damned," the soldier whispers, falling to his knees. Life found a way. Lena looks down at her son. She survived the selection. She survived the factory. She survived the march. She looks at the American, then at Magda, and finally she weeps. Not from fear, but from the crushing weight of freedom. She was only 18, she hit it, and she won.